Have you ever noticed how the nicest person in the room is usually the one who gets forgotten first? They are the ones who always say yes, the ones who never start a conflict, and the ones who follow every rule. They think they are being good. But in my experience, the world has a very cold way of treating those people. While they wait for their reward for being kind, they get stepped over by those who don't care about being liked. They aren't saints, they are just invisible. Most people are hesitant to hear this, but the world is not a playground for the nice. It is a massive machine that runs on influence and results. Look at the people around you, the ones you compare yourself to. Most of them are part of the herd. They live their lives as background noise, waiting for permission to be great, hoping that someone will finally notice their goodness. They are predictable, manageable, and honestly, they are replaceable. But you feel it, don't you? That quiet, restless voice in your mind telling you that you were meant for more than just fitting in. You suspect that there is a level of reality you haven't been invited to yet, the world of the architect where rules are written, not followed. Most people will watch this and feel uncomfortable because it challenges their safe little identity. They'd rather stay passive and call it virtue. But if you want to rise above the crowd, if you want to be more than just another face in the herd, you have to realize that your niceness is actually your cage. Today, we aren't going to talk about being better. We're going to talk about being formidable. I'm going to reveal the shift that separates the 1% from the rest, the shift that turns a follower into a leader. The door is opening. Are you going to step through, or are you going to stay out there with the others? To build an empire, you cannot rely on the advice of the average. You need the blueprints of those who redefined reality itself. Today, we are decoding the dark wisdom of 4 giants, 4 architects who saw the world not as it was, but as it could be shaped. First, Friedrich Nietzsche, the philosopher who saw through the morality of the weak and demanded the will to power. Second, Niccolò Machiavelli, the master strategist who taught us that being respected is infinitely more valuable than being liked. Third, Steve Jobs, the visionary who realized that the world is just a system of patterns waiting to be broken. And finally, Robert Greene, the modern master who mastered the art of the strategic mask. I've spent years studying these minds, and I've realized one unsettling thing. Most people are terrified of what they teach. They would rather stay comfortable in their ignorance than face the cold truth of how power actually works. They compare their small, safe lives while the elite are busy studying these laws. 4 minds, 4 laws, 1 outcome, your evolution. If you are looking for a feel-good lecture, leave now. But if you are ready to see the world through the eyes of the architects, then pay attention. We begin with the lie they call morality. The sovereign shift, beyond the herd morality. Most people you know are trapped in a lie they call morality. They preach about kindness, humility, and being selfless. But look closer. Are they truly kind, or are they just unable to be anything else? Friedrich Nietzsche called this the herd morality. It is the weapon of the unremarkable. Because they lack the courage to lead, they celebrate being followers. Because they are too afraid to compete, they value sympathy. They have turned their weakness into a badge of honor. They aren't good, they are just powerless. I once knew a man who turned down a high-level position because he didn't want his co-workers to feel intimidated. He called it being a team player. I called it a tragedy. He chose to stay at the bottom of the hierarchy just to keep the mediocre people around him comfortable. He stayed small so they wouldn't feel small. That isn't virtue, it's a slow death. The architect operates on a different frequency. The sovereign morality. The elite do not ask what is nice, they ask what is effective. They don't wait for a group of average people to tell them it's okay to be great. To be strong, you must accept that you will be the villain in the stories of the unmotivated. They will call you cold or arrogant because your ambition makes them feel their own lack of it. The herd looks for a savior. The architect is the leader. While others are busy seeking approval, You must be busy seeking results. Stop apologizing for wanting more than the person sitting next to you. If your path to the top makes the complacent feel uncomfortable, let them be uncomfortable. The shift is simple. Define your own good. If it empowers you, it is right. If it builds your empire, it is necessary. Will you remain a shadow in the crowd, or will you become the one who casts the shadow? The necessity factor, commanding respect over affection. There is a silent reason why most people stay at the bottom of the social ladder. They are addicted to being liked. But while they are busy seeking affection, the architect is busy commanding respect. Niccolò Machiavelli wrote the blueprint for this centuries ago. He argued that it is far better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. Why? Because love is a volatile emotion controlled by them. It is a gift they can take away the moment you stop entertaining them. But respect is an emotion controlled by you. Think about the nice guy in your office or your friend group. Everyone says they love him. He's helpful, he's sweet, he's predictable. But look at what happens when the pressure rises. He is the first one people ignore. He is the first one to be stepped over during a crisis. Why? Because he is a luxury, not a necessity. He is a decoration, and decorations are the first things thrown away when the house is on fire. The average person operates as a commodity. They are easy to find and even easier to replace. They are good, but in the high-stakes game of reality, they are invisible. The architect, however, chooses to be a necessity. People might not love you, but they wouldn't dare move without you. They follow you because your presence provides a value they cannot find elsewhere, and your absence creates a vacuum they cannot fill. In my experience, being liked might get you an invitation to the room, but being respected allows you to own the table. Stop aiming for the shallow approval of those outside your vision. A good person is used until they are empty. A strong person is followed because they are the foundation. Are you going to be the nice face that everyone forgets, or the essential force that no one dares to ignore? And the reality architect, the power of non-conformity. Most people live their entire lives inside a house they didn't build, following rules they didn't write. They walk down the streets, look at the skyscrapers, and assume that this is just how the world is. They are good citizens, quiet, obedient, and completely unremarkable. They find comfort in the lines drawn for them, never realizing that those lines are actually boundaries designed to keep them in place. But Steve Jobs understood a powerful truth. The world is a system of patterns. He famously taught that everything you call life was made up by people who were no smarter than you. While the average person, the 99%, is busy trying to fit in and compare their small lives to their neighbors, the architect is busy analyzing the world to see where it can be improved. I've seen people spend decades waiting for permission to innovate, while someone with half their talent but double their boldness simply stepped forward and took the prize. The unremarkable wait for the world to change for them. The formidable demand that the world change to fit their vision. Think of it this way. The average person is a passenger on a train, staring out the window at a fixed landscape. The architect is the one laying the tracks. To the passenger, the architect looks difficult because he refuses to follow the old schedule. But who is truly in control? The one who follows the path, or the one who decides where the path goes? Jobs didn't aim to be nice. He aimed to be effective. He knew that goodness is often just a mask for the fear of being different. While the herd stays safe in the middle, comparing their common results, the elite realize that reality is flexible. The walls are thinner than you think. You can change the world, influence it, and leave your mark upon it. Will you stay a passenger, or are you ready to start laying the tracks? See, the strategic mask, winning the game of appearances. Most people believe that honesty is the only virtue. They think wearing their heart on their sleeve makes them brave. In reality, it often just makes them predictable. A good person is like a house with no walls. They're easy to see through, easy to understand, and even easier to bypass. They are the background noise of the world, the mediocre masses who think being transparent is a complete strategy. But Robert Greene, the modern master of strategy, knows better. He synthesized 3,000 years of power and found one clear truth. Influence is a game of appearances. Greene teaches that being perfectly open in a highly competitive world is a recipe for a disadvantage. While the 99% are busy proving how authentic they are, comparing their small, honest lives to one another, the architect is busy crafting a professional presence. In my view, absolute transparency isn't always a strength. It's a lack of strategy. I've seen people lose entire opportunities because they couldn't manage their reactions for 10 minutes. They chose being themselves over winning the long game. That isn't noble, it's just poor planning. Think of it this way. The average person is a mirror. They reflect everything they feel immediately. The architect is a fortress. You can look at them, but you only see what they choose to reveal. As Greene suggests, you should understand the art of the courtier. You can appear supportive to gain trust. You can appear humble to learn from others, and you can appear pleasant to navigate the crowd. But beneath that exterior, beneath that is a focused, strategic drive for results. While others are busy being nice, you are being effective. The world doesn't always reward the person who is most real. It rewards the person who can manage their presence most effectively. Will you keep showing the world your vulnerabilities, or are you ready to build your strategic presence? We have walked through the ruins of common morality, and the truth is now standing right in front of you. The world is divided into two types of people: those who wait for the world to tell them they are good, and those who force the world to acknowledge they are great. The average person is content staying at the bottom, looking up at the skyscraper and resenting the person on the top floor. They take pride in their niceness because it's the only thing they have. But let's be honest, being nice when you have no power isn't a choice. It's a survival tactic. In my observation, the greatest tragedy isn't failure, it's potential that was stifled by the need for approval. I've seen brilliant minds die in obscurity because they were too polite to claim their seat at the table. They stayed small so that the mediocre people around them wouldn't feel uncomfortable. They chose the herd over the throne. Think of the difference this way. The good person is a brick in someone else's wall, useful, predictable, and trapped. The architect is the one who holds the blueprint. You are now at a crossroads. You can go back to your life of seeking smiles and avoiding conflict, or you can begin the uncomfortable work of becoming formidable. You were not born to be background noise. You were not born to be a follower in someone else's story. If you feel that sharp ambition burning in your chest while others are satisfied with their safe lives, then you belong with us. This is the end of the lecture and the beginning of your evolution. If you are ready to stop being liked and start being respected, then you have found your tribe. Subscribe to join the elite. Comment the word architect below to signal that you have cut your strings. The others will stay in the crowd. We will see you at the top.